Assalamu alaikum. I am Sheikh Wasima. Welcome to you all on Royals Educare Channel. Today we are going to learn English Medium State Board Standard 10 Subject English Lesson number 1.1 where the mind is without fear. So let's begin.
Welcome to English Kumar Bharti. Unit 1.1 Where the Mind is Without Fear. We begin with the poem Where the Mind is Without Fear.
Minds Without Fear by Rabindranath Tagore. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake.
Rabindranath Tagore, 1861 to 1941, was the author of Gitanjali and its profoundly sensitive, fresh and beautiful verse. He became the first non-European to win the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913. This poem is one of his vastly read and discussed poem. It was originally composed in Bengali and later he himself translated it into English. This poem is from his Nobel Prize winning anthology Gitanjali. Tagore lived during the time when India was ruled by the British. In this poem, besides political freedom from British, Tagore also appeals to God for social, educational and economic freedom for the people of India. Let us now understand the meaning of the poem. This poem had been written before India gained her independence. Here, the poet expresses this dream of how a free India would be. The poet prays to the Almighty that his countrymen should be free from any fear of oppression or compulsion. He wishes that everyone in his country has his head held high in dignity. The poet dreams of a nation where knowledge would be free. All children should learn freely from the nature and the world around them. The poet continues to imagine his country free from the shackles of differences between them. Tagore expresses his desire for a nation where people are truthful. The poet wants everyone to work hard to reach their goal, and in the long run, to reach perfection. He wants the stream of reason not to lose its way into the desert of prejudices. The poet wishes his countrymen to be progressive and broad-minded. He wants that their minds are led forward to ever-widening thought and action by the Almighty. He asks him to awaken his country into such a heaven of freedom where the above conditions meet. The poet prays to the Almighty, my Father, to raise or lift, awake his country to such heights where freedom would be realized at its best, a heaven of freedom. He is actually praying that God awakens his countrymen so that they come out from the darkness of ignorance, prejudices, disunity and all other evils. This was a very inspiring poem by Tagore. I'm sure we can resonate with his feelings and think about our own thoughts on how our perfect India should be.
Some additional information. Rabindranath Tagore was born as Rabindranath Thakur. He was also known by his sobriquets Gurudev, Kabi Guru and Vishwa Kavi. He was a Bengali polymath. What is polymath? Polymath is a person of great and varied learning. He was poet, musician and artist. He reshaped Bengali literature and music. He is sometimes referred to as the Bard of Bengal. Bard is a storyteller. Songs of Rabindranath Tagore are called as Rabindra Sangeet. Tagore was a prolific composer of songs. His songs are known as Rabindra Sangeet, which means fluidity, which merges fluidity into his literature. It is influenced by the Thumri style of Hindustani music. Let us go through the word meanings. Narrow domestic malls, it means division on the basis of religion, caste, class and color in societies between countries of the world. Tireless striving, it means continuous efforts and struggle. Stretches its arms, it means aims at achieving a goal. Dead habit, it means old traditional rituals and customs that are harmful. Ever widening, forever broadening and one's outlook. And heaven of freedom, condition of total freedom of good thoughts, good words and good deeds while respecting those of others. Appreciation of the poem. Let us talk about the rhyme scheme. It is a free verse which makes the poem one big complex sentence. I mean, there is no specific rhyme scheme here. Favorite line, into that heaven of freedom, my father let my country awake. This line makes the whole poem a prayer. It's an appeal made to God. Student can write any of their favorite lines. Central idea of the poem is the poet's desire to see his countrymen free and the qualities he wishes to see in them, as well as hopes for a better future. Then figures of speech. Figures of speech add to the beauty of the poem. Tagore has used apostrophe, metaphor, alliteration, synecdoche and personification to express his thoughts. Let us talk about the special features of the poem. The poem is a prayer poem written in a serious tone that echoes patriotism throughout. The mood transcends from gloomy in the beginning to hopeful in the last two sentences. The use of into in the last two sentences not only ushers in hope but also lends a sense of clarity. Underlining the theme of the poem, the implied meaning that the poet wishes to convey is that only when people experience freedom of mind and spirit can a country progress. Through the beautiful use of imagery such as clear stream of reason and dreary sand of dead habit, the poet represents his vision for a brighter tomorrow for India, while he indirectly acknowledges the reality of the present.
Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe and share. Allah Hafiz.